how would you minister about salvation just in general? How would you explain it to a non-believer?
Well, to minister salvation to people, first of all, everybody knows that they are sinners. And there is no human being on this earth who doesn't know that it does things wrong. We all know that we are inadequate. Everybody on his own is inadequate. Everybody has weakness. So everybody needs some kind of succor. Everybody needs some kind of peace. Everybody needs some form of forgiveness. Everybody needs to feel that all the wrong that I've done, I could be forgiven. Everybody wants a hope. Everybody needs hope. Hope that, you know, the weight of my wrongdoings will not be with me all along and for the rest of my life. So that hope is what you need to bring to people and tell them that, you know what, have you ever done anything wrong? Do you ever feel, even there are some things that we personally are ashamed of even talking about or sharing, that we don't even want to remember because we are wrong, because we are naturally sinful, and because we have weaknesses, in our flesh. So everybody knows this. So then you just need to confront them and let them know that, you know what I discovered? That you could actually be forgiven, and that feeling of guilt and that feeling of weight and of the condemnation that comes to you, that it could actually be taken away from you. You could actually be delivered from that guilt. You could be delivered from that weight. You could actually, live knowing that you are forgiven. And everyone has a need to be forgiven. He even needs to forgive himself, and then he needs for other people to forgive him. But most of all, he needs that God will forgive him. And then you just let the person know that God actually knows everything he has done. God is aware, but he could either punish him for them or he could forgive him. And that God is willing to actually forgive you. And so let's present that forgiveness. Let's let us open people's eyes that they could receive that reconciliation, that forgiveness. They could be delivered from the sense of guilt. That's number one. Number two, then you have to just explain to them the process. That what happened is that God has paid for that guilt. God had paid for that sin. God had paid for every wrong thing we ever did. And that if you just accept it, that's the only thing you need. Just accept the fact that Jesus, who has paid for the price of your guilt, of your sin, of your iniquity, you accept him as your Lord and your Savior, and just ask him to forgive you, to cleanse you with his blood, and to come and live in your heart, and you develop a relationship with him from there, that, your things will be forgiven. And if you have a relationship with him, anytime you ever sin, anytime you ever do anything wrong, you could always come to him and ask him to forgive you, and then be serious about it, and try your best to be the best you could be, pleasing him, trying to emulate him and imitate him. And when you are doing that, you will not be perfect still. You will still fail, but you know that he will be there for you. If he was there for you when you are sinners, when you are a sinner, when you didn't even know him, and he will still die for you, and he will still be willing to forgive you, why not when you are now his child? So don't be afraid or that you will fail or that, some things might not work out. Just know that he will forever now be with you until you reject him. And it's not wise to reject him, because you will need him every day, and he will be leading you by the hand. It's a good life. It's a wonderful possibility to be able to have someone covering you, someone taking care of you, someone being there for you, someone being your father, someone you could talk to confidential things with. And, there's nobody in his right mind that will say no to Christ, especially with those possibilities.
I definitely agree. Thank you for that wonderful answer.